When favored by 9 or more, the Bills have only pulled off the spread 2 of the 6 times this year. This is just the 4th game this season where Bills' opponent is below 500. It's been a tough schedule.
You know what, Scott? People keep on asking me, are the Bills going to go to the Super Bowl? You know what I like to say? It sounds like a 2023 problem. Oh, the Patriots' tears taste so good. So good.
Welcome back to another edition of The House that Alan Built. I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
And today, episode 25, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills going to the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears.
Bears. The
The Bills are 11-3, and the Bears not so good. They're 3-11, and on a 7-game skid where the Bills have won 5 in a row and remain the number 1 seed in the AFC. The Bills travel to the Windy City for a cold cross-conference clash on Christmas Eve. That is Saturday, December 24th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. The Bills are on that streak, like I said. They're currently the Super Bowl favorites, whereas the Bears hold that number 2 overall pick right now as it stands for the 2023 NFL Draft.
Ironically, it's looking like the weather for this game is going to be it's going to be closer to the weather that we thought was going to be for the Bills hosting the Dolphins.
It's expected to be 6 degrees, and on the field it's going to be like minus 13.
And I've heard anywhere from 25 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts. So
It is a windy city.
but because of the politicians.
But if we look into like the sports book stuff, the Bills are 6-7-1 against the spread this year. The spread is 9.5 points. Total points is over under 40.5. That would make the implied score 25 to 15, 16 points. My prediction, the Bills take home a victory 28-17. Your prediction?
Bills 30-10.
30-10. So I pick an 11-point victory, which means they hit the spread and beat it. And you, 20 points, definitely. This year, 10 of the 14 games have finished under the points total, which would mean 10 out of 14 times it would hit, in this case, the total points is 40.5. I mean, the weather's going to be like crap. Maybe it's a bunch of running.
I hope not, man. I hope the weather clears up, but I'm sick of, I don't know. Call me a wuss. I'm just sick of the weather narrative. Maybe it's because I have Josh Allen on my fantasy team and Devin Singletary, and I want to see this team not have to have any kind of wind affect their offense. But it's just, I don't know. It's like after the last 2-3 weeks, I'm ready to just hear about anything but the weather being shitty.
I know. Well, we're heading into January, man.
Yeah.
Playoff weather.
Yeah.
This is
Chicago.
what the home field advantage was for the Bills in the early 90s. And they haven't seen that home field advantage since, really. The last few years, I mean, this will be our 4th year in a row that we've won 10-plus games and have made it to the playoffs.
It's amazing. Steve Tasker was talking about it with Brownie on...
Chris Brown?
Yeah. They were talking. He was mentioning how Chicago cold is a different type of cold.
Yeah, it's that dry cold where it hurts your nose to breathe. Woo!
For those of you that don't know, Steve Tasker went to Northwestern for his college days, so that's how he has some firsthand experience as to how cold it can get in Chicago.
With the 9.5-point favorites, that's the 7th time this year the Bills have been favored by 9 or more, and they've only pulled off the spread 2 of the 6 times so far. So you said they are going to win by 20. I say they win by 11. Either way, we're picking that over, which would be the 3rd time out of 7. So let's hope. Really, I don't have anything else for sports stuff other than that. If we get into the injuries, we know we've got Mitch Morse banged up with a concussion. That is worrisome because I think that's his 4th.
I think it's more than that, but
4th with the Bills. He might need to retire soon.
Sucks.
Man, it's
a bummer.
Am I damaged goods? But the fact that he's even talking, and I've seen photos of him doing some sort of workouts would mean that he's past that first stage of the testing. I don't know how.
And what was it that led to his concussion?
I did not see anything. Christian Benford, who's been out for 4 weeks now, he's up for returning, but we just don't know based on what's going on with his oblique how serious that was. And Kumaro, who's been on IR since November 17th, is still out with an ankle injury. But we do have Beasley. He can get 3 more elevations, so the rest of the regular season if we ended up elevating him from the practice squad. And John Brown, he's only eligible, I think, for 1 or 2 more because you get 4, and he's been elevated twice. So, yeah, 3 more games. We'll see if he gets elevated twice. He did not this past week, but Beasley did, and he had 1 catch. That's for our injuries, but for Chicago, they've got Khalil Herbert, who's actually looking really good before he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on IR since November 15th with a hip injury, but he is scheduled for a return. I picked him up in my fantasy as depth. I won't need him, but I do have Jonathan Taylor on IR now, so good thing I picked up J.K. Dobbins before he blew up. Yeah, that's really it. Darnell Mooney is going to be on IR, and I believe he's out for the season with an ankle injury that required surgery.
Yeah. And
for passing, with 14 games, Josh Allen now has 63.7% completions. He's 325 of 510. And for 3,857 yards, 276 yards per game, 30 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. He hasn't thrown any in the last 3+ games.
Yep.
He did have a fumble last game, but that was a blindsided strip sack. And that's going to happen. Overall, he's done a good job lately. Based on my very mathematical calculations, it's very scientific. Allen is on pace for 4,684 yards, 36 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Justin Fields right now, averaging 157.5 yards per game. Not so good. 15 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But where he's the biggest asset for the Bears that we have to look out for, and we would be getting a taste of our own medicine because we have a mobile quarterback too.
Yep.
Fields has 1,000 yards rushing. He leads the team. He leads the league, and he is only the 3rd quarterback in NFL history to have 1,000 yards in a single season.
Behind, I'm sure, Michael Vick and
Lamar
Cam
Jackson,
Newton.
2019.
Oh, Lamar Jackson.
1,260 yards, or 1,206
so
yards.
So Lamar and Michael Vick, or is Cam Newton on there?
I want to say it's Vick. I want to say it's Vick.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Anyway, that's Fields for you. So we do have to watch out for him. He's banged up. You said that he's been hurt. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, he came back. He did get banged up and went and got evaluated last week, but he came back into the game. Just thinking about it, we talked about the Dolphins game this past weekend, and I almost feel like the fact that it didn't snow during the whole game like it was expected helped the Bills out. Because, especially from, I think that Waddle and Tyreek Hill, with all the speed they have, that would have been a big advantage for the Dolphins. Say one of our defenders slips, and
Sure.
They always say it gives the offense. Now, granted, it would have helped us too.
Yeah, because they can't stop on a dime when they're sliding
and then
around.
they don't. The offense knows, the quarterback knows where the wide receiver's running. So I think we almost dodged a bullet there. It's going to be interesting to see, as we move closer to Saturday, what the weather reports look like. But I am a little concerned with, if you've got some nasty weather and say you do get a lot of snow, with how bad we've struggled as of late with tackling and kind of missing our, having our gap integrity be a little bit of a liability. I am concerned about that, especially like you said with a run game with Montgomery and Khalil Herbert, and then to have Justin Fields be so dangerous.
Yeah, we're going to need Josh Allen probably 10 carries for 77 like last week, But I feel like if you're comparing those two, Justin Fields in his second year, first couple games of the year was maddening to watch because the Bears didn't know what the hell to do with him. Once they opened up him as a runner, he could still pass, and you really... Hurts has shown that you can only throw for 150 and win a game. Matt Milano was really good at containing Lamar Jackson, so our tackling will be crucial for this one.
Man.
And with the bad weather, I have a feeling Allen might be able to throw it through the air, but who's going to be running the routes? Who's going to be able to catch? Who's tackling in that weather? We might be running a lot of Singletary and Cook, and maybe we've been prepping for this game over the last month, where there's more running.
If I were a betting man, I'd say that Devin Singletary gets about 12 carries.
Single carry?
Maybe if they're feeling risky, he gets 13. I don't know.
Devin Singletary?
Devin Singletary, yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, he has 158 rushes for 684 yards and 4 touchdowns. Cook is going to slowly catch him. Only 69 rushes, but 363 yards and a touchdown. And you know who's third in rushing? Well, if you don't include Allen. McKenzie. 8 rushes for 49 yards and a touchdown. But Allen, 109 rushes, 705 yards,
Impressive.
6 touchdowns, 2 fumbles lost, in addition to the one as a passer. Not bad. His
Yeah.
pace, based on my calculations, 132 attempts, 856 yards, 7 rushing touchdowns, and perhaps 1 more fumble. So overall, we've got a pretty good run game that we're going to need. And they've got, like you said, Montgomery and Herbert. And they have Fields, which is the biggest threat, just like Allen on the ground. Montgomery has 172 rushes for 694, 4 touchdowns, or 5 touchdowns. He averages 4 yards a carry, which is about Singletary. And then Khalil Herbert, who I think we really need to worry about. Montgomery is more of like the pass catcher, but Herbert, 108 rushes, 643, 6 yards a carry, and 4 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Run defense, gotta be there. And
Yeah, it's gonna be a big test.
White has to be pretty much close to 100%. I don't want to see Dane Jackson out there, even though he was in position a lot in the last several games. But Elam, I think, outshined him. As far as receivers, if we are going to throw the ball, obviously we're going to throw the ball to Diggs. He's at 1,299 yards and 10 touchdowns. It was nice to see Gabe Davis, who's actually like 3rd in the league for average per catch at 17.9 yards per catch. Where if you're comparing that to Diggs, who still catches a lot of deep balls, 13.1. Davis has 752 yards on the year, which is his most so far in his 3rd year.
Yeah, and it's been, I think against the Dolphins and even before that against the Jets, it's been good because I think there was
crucial 3rd downs.
Yeah, a narrative was starting to build that the Bills were relying way too much on Stephon Diggs and that it was only the Diggs show.
But there was balance.
We're proving that we can win with more than just Diggs.
Hines had a touchdown last week. Quentin Morris had a touchdown last week. Both of them had their first one as a Bill.
Yeah.
Knox had a touchdown with 98 yards last week. Knox on the year has 43 catches for 466, 10.8 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. Not bad. It's about what he was at last year. McKenzie, 40 receptions, 404 yards, 10 yards per catch average, 4 touchdowns. Singletary, 35 receptions, 258, and a touchdown. Cook, 18 receptions, 165 and a touchdown. That's the top receivers and receiving backs for the Bills. Now we go to the Bears. It's crazy because when you get rid of Darnell Mooney, who hasn't been playing because he's on IR now, he was leading the team with 40 receptions for 493, but he's out. He's done. We're not going to have to worry about him. Their number one threat right now is Cole Kmet, their tight end. 39 receptions, 433 yards, 11 yards per catch, and that's for 5 touchdowns. And then we have Amon-Ra St. Brown's brother, Equanimous.
The St. Brown brothers doing work.
He has 100 yards and a touchdown on the year. Montgomery, like I said, more of the receiving back, 28 receptions for 282. Pretty much Singletary,
Yeah, I mean,
they actually were drafted back-to-back. You know that?
Yes, yeah. I would consider Montgomery more than receiving back, though.
I'm saying he can, where he's more of that than Herbert.
He's got the
I don't mean that he can.
Yeah, he's got the catching ability over Herbert. Because, Montgomery can be a bruiser, too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's definitely a different back. Now, way down on the totem pole of receivers for yards is Byron Pringle, former Chief. 7 receptions, 96 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But he hasn't really played much. He's been injured. So he's probably going to be their number one receiver right now. And then that'll be followed by St. Brown, Dante Pettis, who has 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. And former Patriot, N'Keal Harry, 5 receptions, 93 yards. He's really only had like 1 impressive catch.
Yeah.
It was for
a chunk play.
Yes, it was. And then Herbert has 6 catches for 62 yards and a touchdown. So all the stats aside, I feel a lot more confident about our receivers versus theirs, and their receivers against our corners against their receivers. Their run defense isn't that great. They don't really have a lot of sacks. They're decent for interceptions, but we should be able to have Allen protected, stand in the pocket, do what he wants, run towards the outside. I feel like if anyone in the league is going to throw in the wind, it's going to be Josh Allen.
I hope that this isn't one of those games where because of a few injuries we have like a letdown on the offensive line and Josh is running for his life against a defensive line that we're kind of can see they've been struggling. So I'm hoping.
I think Ryan Bates will be back. I think Ike Butker will finally be off IR and healthy enough to play. That's my hope. Those two are good and they're dependable. With Quentin Morris out or possibly out. because the game's on Saturday, Christmas Eve. It's up in the air, but I'm not as worried about their pass rush against the Bills. When you're comparing the offenses here, the Bills are 4th in scoring, 2nd in total yards. They are 7th in passing, 8th in rushing. Now we go over to Chicago. They're 19th in points scored. They average 20.7 points a game, right? Where the Bills average a lot more than that. Total yards, they're 22nd, and passing 32nd. That's dead last in passing.
Yeah.
Now, we know that with Fields only averaging 140 to 150 yards a game. And then they're rushing because of Fields is number 1.
So, yeah, we'll get put to the test here.
Yeah. Our rushing is 8th. A lot of that has to do with Allen. Their rushing is 1st. A lot of that has to do with Fields. Now, our defense, when you're going against those offense that Chicago has, our defense, points against, we've allowed the 2nd least amount. So that's very good. Our total defense, 9th. Passing defense, 18th. Rushing defense, 6th. Sacks were 11th. Interceptions were 7th. And we're ranked number 1 in overall DVOA. And that's defense versus overall expected or something like that. Average, overall average. They're the number 1 defense when you're comparing the rest of the league in every play of the games. And that's according to Football Outsider. Chicago, their points against, 30th. So we can score. They average allowing 26 points a game. Total yards, 22nd. Pass defense, 15th. Their pass defense is underrated. They're not bad. They do have their interceptions. They do have some scrappy guys. Kyler Gordon had a pick last week against Hurts, and I think he's really good as a rookie. And their rush defense, like I said, 27th, not that great. Sacks, they're dead last. They only have 17 in 14 games.
Yeah.
17 in 14 games. That's nuts. And interceptions, they have 12 or 11, so that's good enough for 12th. Those are all the numbers. If we're looking at all this and we see that Fields is the biggest threat, Allen's the biggest threat, you compare the two. Chicago's played some pretty good games. They almost beat the Eagles last week. We cannot sleep on them, but this is a perfect game for the Bills to be set up to secure the AFC East, win it for the 3rd time in a row, back to back to back.
Be amazing.
I don't want to speak too soon. This is episode 25, but I'm hoping that when we talk about the recap in episode 26, it's more of a I told you so and you were closer to being correct on the score. Let's hope.
I hope so. I think this is this is the kind of game that if we can drop a plan like we've done against Lamar Jackson, contain Justin Fields, contain Cole Kmet, bend don't break against some high quality running backs, then we have a great chance to win this game. I think Josh Allen has put himself back in the MVP conversation over these last 2 weeks. Although if you ask me, he should have never left that conversation. But according to the kind of the national narrative, he has left that conversation.
Those turnovers were pretty bad.
They were bad.
But he was also injured, and I feel like he's closer to 100% that he's been since the injury in Week 9.
Yeah.
He's playing solid.
It's like the MVP thing, it's about numbers, but it's also about narrative, and I'm still just how can you not look at Allen as having one of the best narratives? Maybe the only other person it would be Hurts, and I'm leaving Mahomes out of it because Mahomes has already won one, and his team the last 2 weeks has looked a little shaky. And
they have, but he's still statistics
very much
are still better than Allen's.
Yeah, they are.
But the eye test. And who's willing them
his
the
running
victory?
ability isn't better than Allen's, and his rushing touchdowns aren't better.
No, but overall touchdowns, Mahomes is still there and receiving.
Still lost Allen head to head.
Yes,
Allen
he did.
And the Bills still hold that number 1 seed over him.
What did that do for them 2 years ago when they beat us in the playoffs?
I get it, but
that doesn't mean it. MVP race to me. Who's back-to-back MVP winner? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
When's the last time he won a Super Bowl? Oh,
I know it has.
When's the last time he's been to a Super Bowl? No, it's not. I want Super Bowl MVP for Josh Allen. I don't give two shits about MVP for the regular season. Is he playing well enough to be a top 3 consideration? Absolutely. And you know what? I hope he does still get it. But there is some good competition. Because
I care about it. I care about the MVP. But I think that
I don't even care about the Pro Bowl because I want the Super Bowl.
I think the Pro Bowl is a joke, but
it's going to be a joke. It's 2-hand touch now, and it's more of a skills thing, which I actually think will be cool.
I'm very interested in who wins MVP because I do want to see Josh Allen add that to his resume, and
he's got another 10+ years.
But I think that he has the best narrative right now. The Bills have never won a Super Bowl. He's trying to get them to finally get over that hump. He already beat the Chiefs. They beat every divisional winner. They beat
They
the
have.
Rams. They beat the Titans. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Packers. They beat who's the other?
They have now beat the Dolphins, Jets, and Patriots, who are
They
all
beat
500
they're
or better
the first team I think in NFL history to beat all four
of the division leaders. But we could have said that when Baltimore was there, but now Cincinnati's.
They beat four Hall of Fame coaches. No. They beat four.
Oh yeah, we've talked about that in
Super
the
Bowl
past.
winning coaches,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it was Sean McVay, Bill Belichick.
No. MVPs. They beat four former MVPs: Lamar Jackson,
Patrick
Aaron
Mahomes.
Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, and who else?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Stafford.
Oh, he did play Stafford. Did Stafford get an MVP? I mean,
I don't know.
He was
My
he
brain
was
is
slinging it for the Lions, but I don't know
shut
that he
down.
ever was MVP.
But yeah, regardless, long story short, I think the narrative is fitting, and the narrative is a huge deal with the MVP, whether you like it or not. And so for Allen to, yes, he was injured. He's coming on strong again after having some couple weeks of being turnover prone and not looking like himself. He's got the Bills still as the number one seed in the AFC. They've had some, tough schedule, like we were talking about. Tough schedule combined with a lot of injuries, and he's had to literally carry the team on his back at times. I think that he still is right in there in the mix. So,
well, before we get into a little rapid predictions over here, I wanted to mention that we've been missing for a couple weeks, and that was mostly since we didn't do a Jets recap, we didn't do a Dolphins preview. And then our Dolphins recap was supposed to be on video, but we had some technical difficulties here where my camera memory was full. We're watching ourselves. We can see the monitor. Everything's great. We've got the audio version up on the Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts and Spotify and whatnot. We'll have a audio with a photo version here for you guys. But if you'd rather just wait for this and you haven't watched that episode or listened for it, I was in Seattle. I was sick prior to that. I went to the Thursday night game. The Niners played the Seahawks. They beat them 21-13. Seahawks lost at home. My buddy who's a Seahawks fan was like, hey, you want to go? I'm like, sure. And then Saturday, went and met Mike Tyson. I got a photo with him, shook his hand, walked around Seattle for the weekend. It's a beautiful area. And I'm back and brought home some Seattle cider, Honey Crisp. If you're into ciders, maybe it's pretty good. I mean, I had one, but it's a little sugary. They're sweet.
yeah, it's on the sweeter side, but
Yeah, but it's crispy. It's nice. It's not bad. But overall, the Bills are looking good. They're 11-3 on a 5-game win streak. We're both predicting that they beat the Bears, but we should not sleep on them. Going to a cold area that's going to be 6 degrees, and it's going to feel like -13.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want this to be another letdown game like the Jaguars game last year. I mean, if the Bills were to lose this game, I think it would almost be worse than the Jaguars game last year. You've got a team with even worse record, I feel. Yeah, well, I forgot what the Jaguars were when we lost to them last year.
Oh God, they had a lot less than their 6-8 record now.
It
maybe
this
2 or
would be
3.
one of those games where you're like, how did you let this get away? I mean, and even though the only thing you could do to try to make yourself feel better about a loss like this, if we were to somehow lose, would be, well, it's the NFC opponent. But even though it's an NFC opponent, that still doesn't matter because we have to go toe to toe with the Chiefs right now because it's the only way we can hold that tiebreaker.
Jacksonville's not NFC.
No, I'm talking about the Bears.
Oh yeah.
I was just alluding to last year, comparing it would be kind of like the.
It still messes your overall record.
Well, yeah,
up.
we have to keep on winning because our hope is that we keep on winning, and then somehow the Chiefs drop one of these last 3 games, and
they have an easy schedule.
We almost and it almost happened 2 weeks in a row where the Chiefs almost dropped one that a lot of people thought were gimmies for the Chiefs.
And now that 7 teams make the playoffs, only 1 gets a first round bye, and that's the number 1 seed.
It's huge,
it is paper thin right now. We cannot lose, or we need the Chiefs to also lose, and that right now is not.
I'm still I have a lot of faith, even though Seattle struggled as of late. I have a lot of faith that they can beat the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, we'll see.
That can be. I think that's a realistic thing. So
all right, so let's run through these real quick before we get going. We've got Jacksonville 6-8 playing the Jets 7-7. Who wins?
I'm going to say that the surging Jacksonville Jaguars pull off the win against Zach.
Same. The 5-9 New Orleans Saints playing the 6-8 Cleveland Browns. God, that's a coin flip.
Browns win this one.
Yeah, that's probably true. Seattle playing Kansas City. I say Kansas City wins that, but I would love to see Seattle beat them.
I'm going to say Seattle pulls an upset of the week, an absolute shocker, and wins.
And then we've got the 10-4 Bengals taking on the 7-7 Patriots. I think the Bengals are hot right now, and there's no doubting them.
Bengals win it.
9-5 Baltimore Ravens take on the 5-9 Atlanta Falcons. And is Lamar back?
God, I do not know.
Okay.
There was talk that he was supposed to be back by Christmas Eve. So,
well, there are 11 games played on Christmas Eve.
If he's back, then I would take the Ravens. If not, I think that's a coin flip.
I still say Baltimore beats Atlanta, but who the hell knows anymore? You've got the 10-4 Dallas Cowboys taking on division rival 13-1 Eagles. Right now, based on how Dallas played last week, you gotta go with the Eagles, right?
I'm going Cowboys on this one. Okay. I'm saying that the Eagles get kind of brought down to earth this week, and Big D pulls off an upset.
The surging Green Bay Packers at 6-8 taking on the 8-6 sliding Miami Dolphins. Who wins that? I would love to see Aaron Rodgers win that just so their record for the Dolphins keeps sinking.
I would love to see that too. I do think, though, that the Dolphins are the better team and they pull this one out.
Arizona 4-10 taking on the 6-8 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
God,
the Bucs are just brutal right now. I mean, Mike Evans has not been trustworthy to play as far as fantasy goes, and Tom Brady's numbers are still not bad. They're still top 5. I don't get it.
He's beating Allen total passing yards.
It's crazy.
He's number 2, I think, or number 3. Yeah, it's nuts. I think Tampa Bay wins.
Yeah,
their offensive line is still a mess. They've got Rashad White and Leonard Fournette that are splitting carries.
Then we've got the Tennessee Titans 7-7 taking on the hapless 12-1 scrappy Houston Texans.
Yeah,
that's another one I would love to see Houston win, but I say the Titans are probably going to win that.
Yeah, I go Titans.
Then we've got the 8-5-1 Giants taking on the 11-3 Minnesota Vikings. Are they going to run out of luck, or are they going to keep coming from behind?
I think this is almost like another coin flip.
That is a good game. That might be one
Vikings
of the games
fans would think that we're disrespecting them by saying it's a coin flip, because I know a lot of Vikings fans are kind of taking it personal because a lot of people are talking about
they've been down
how
8 or 9 of their 11 wins.
Their record, I know. But man, I do still, they still have Justin Jefferson. They've got KJ Osborne, who's a second-year wide receiver that's coming on strong.
Yeah, he is.
They've got Adam Thielen. They've got Hawkinson at tight end. They've got talent. I think the Vikings win this one. It could be one of those maybe 3-point, 5-point type games, but
okay. Then we've got the 5-9 Carolina Panthers led by Sam Darnold playing the 7-7 Detroit Lions led by Jared Goff. We're gonna go Lions, right?
Lions win it. They're on way too much of a momentum roll right now, and Dan Campbell has that team believing.
For sure.
And
then we've got the Washington Commanders at 7-6-1 taking on the hot 10-4 Brock Purdy led San Francisco 49ers. I say Niners get that somehow. Unless Brock comes back to earth.
I still can't believe how good Brock Purdy's playing.
You know what? He is super poised in the pocket. He doesn't blink. Don't blink.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good. Then we've got 6-8 versus 6-8 Steelers versus the Raiders in a barn burner. I like Tomlin, and I think that he's got a good team. Obviously, the Raiders have been a disappointment this year. Carr is not a bad quarterback. Devontae Adams is still one of the best receivers in the league. Josh Jacobs is a solid running back that they're going to lose in the offseason.
I think I'm starting Darren Waller at tight end.
Well, he is back. So you want to go Raiders?
I'll go Raiders. And this is they're doing this game. This
that's right.
Because of the Immaculate Reception.
Yes.
Yeah, the special.
30 years or 50 years or so.
I forgot how many years, but the anniversary.
It's got to be 50 years.
But anyway, they're paying homage to.
Yeah, I think it happened in 72, so that would be 50. The 4-10 Rams are taking on the 4-10.
Oh, what another great matchup
Broncos
in the National Football League.
Holy cow! Are you picking Denver? Who did you pick? Are you picking anyone?
Do I have to?
I mean, Baker Mayfield or Russell Wilson washed up.
Let me.
I circled the Giants and Vikings game, and I'm going to cross this one out.
By the toe. If
Don't watch it.
Make them pay $5 every day. My mom chose to pick the very best one, and you are not it. I'll go the Broncos.
All right. And the last game is the 4-9-1 Saturday-led Indianapolis Colts taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. We know the Chargers are taking that game, right?
Yeah, I think Saturday,
They're without Jonathan Taylor.
I think Saturday wishes that he didn't take up Jim Irsay's offer.
Holy cow. That's the week. I mean, what a game. I mean, we've got some in here that are... So, I would say KC and Seattle, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
We've got Dallas and Philly with the divisional rival. That should be a good game.
Oh, yeah.
And then really, it's the Vikings and Giants, and those are the bigger
there's
games.
A lot of shitty matchups this week.
Yeah, last week we were really gifted with some good games.
There were some great games.
Comebacks, some really good games. The fact that the Bengals were down 23-0 to the Buccaneers and Tom Brady and won 34-23, 34 unanswered points. Then you had the Vikings down 33-0. They come back. They tied up 36-36, and they win 39-36.
I didn't. The Bengals put up 34 unanswered?
It's false. No way. Not this time.
Man, how about Matt Ryan? He's always the one for the Colts or whoever he's playing on.
Now
they're up 28-3 against the Patriots, and then they lose that Super Bowl. Holy cow.
Yeah, it's horrible. His wife, I think, was making fun of him on social media.
But now Cousins holds the greatest comeback over Frank Reich, and he did it against Frank Reich's former team. So I'll show you these cards on camera since you didn't get to see them before. This is the 2021 Player of the Day, Josh Allen Kaboom. This is number 34 of 99. It is a short print. If you look at the holographic little shimmer there, that's a kaboom, boom, boom. What do you have on your side there, pal?
And they only made 99 of those.
Correct.
Yeah. Sometimes you have cards like that.
Like a short print or like an insert.
They'll have of 5, of 10, of 15, of 25, of 99. That's it. They only made that series to 99. So it's a very valuable card. Some of those are selling in the thousands.
And this one has the same sort of holographic
This one's a
Kaboom.
2021 Panini Contenders draft picks. It's got the Kaboom graphics as well.
That's sweet. It's a short print. I think it's 3 of 39.
Yep. Man, super cool.
And that is the legendary
3 of
Contenders.
39, yeah.
Very cool.
Well, I just want to say for this upcoming week, for those of you Bills Mafia members that are traveling to the cold and frigid, windy city of Chicago, I hope you bring the energy, have fun, and make it loud and enjoy the weather. Hopefully there's some more snowballs that can be thrown, except maybe not on the field. Make some snowmen, throw some snowballs. But no matter what, whether you're traveling to the game or watching it in Western New York or wherever you are across the country, don't forget to pound some Labatt's, jump through some tables responsibly, and of course, as always, take a few hydration breaks.
That's right. And because the game is going to be on Christmas Eve, this is the last time we're going to see you before the holidays. So whatever you celebrate, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. And we'll see you before the new year. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Kinmartin. With me, as always,
Greg Vollmer.
This has been episode 25 of The House That Allen Built. We'll see you for episode 26 when the Bills, hopefully, beat the Chicago Bears in the Windy City. All right, let's go!
Buffalo. Boom. That was a sweet connection there.
It was. It had some...
Yeah.
Jesus. Mike Tyson. You need to grab a different drink or something before we get started?
Yeah, please. Yo necesito un cerveza, por favor.
I'm gonna light this stuff up. Woo! Damn, that actually burned. See what happens when you buy aftermarket. See what I'm doing?
Being a dumbass.
Being a dumbass.
Nobody tells
Nobody tells me what to
do.
Nope.
Necesito una cerveza pronto en el estómago. Yo necesito una cerveza, por favor.
Hello? Check. All right. That fucking sucks, man. I was nervous the whole time. I was looking at it, but I'm like, you know how when it's not recording, it just pops back out. And it does the wide angle. I'm like, it never did that, so I'm just going to keep rolling with it.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe the memory card was the reason, because that was a faster speed card.
You had the audio going,
Yeah, I had
right?
the audio.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
My butt is itching.
Well, maybe you should learn to wipe your ass. When you don't wipe it right, it'll irritate.
No, it's not my ass crack. It's just my cheeks.
All right, we've got Week 16. The Bills 11-3 take on the Bears 3-11. My prediction: Bills win 28-17. Greg predicts Bills win 30-10. Bills by the numbers. We've got the Bills at 11-3 going to the Windy City for a cross-country conference classic with Chicago on Christmas Eve. Bills are 6-7-1 against the spread this year. 10 of 14 games finish under the points total. Now, let's not tap the table. Okay. Is it better if I put this up here? What do you have? What do you say?
You are a dirty pirate.
13. Yes. Yes, I am. Mike Gesicki had one catch for 5 yards. He has not been fantasy relevant.
Who now?
Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
He hasn't been relevant all year.
Dude, what tight end has been relevant other than Kittle? It's unbelievable.
Jawan Johnson.
Yeah, but
Dawson Knox the last few weeks.
Dawson Knox hasn't done shit in the last few weeks yet.
George Kittle had 2 touchdowns last week. I was at the game. Mm-hmm. Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Welcome back. It's been a while.
And
Shit.
we're back.
And we're back.
And we're back.
The Bills go to the Windy City for a cold cross-country class. What the cross-conference class? That's supposed to say clash. Okay. The Bills will go to the Windy City to take on the I'm just going to skip it.
We'll do it live.
I'm just going to skip it. Overall, he's done a good job lately, controlling or containing, protecting the ball. Mm-hmm. Thank you. When you're comparing the offenses.
Sorry.
Long day at work for Greg.
Bend don't break. Bend don't break against some high quality running backs. Then yeah, we have a great chance to win this game.
The Bills, they've won. They are now 3-2 in the division. They're 11-3 in the 11-3 in overall. Jesus, I'm going to redo that part. Well, on behalf of Greg Vollmer, I'm Scott Kinmartin. You're watching episode 25 of The House That Ellen Built. Let's do that part again because
I want to tell the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do my little.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, make some snowman and make some snowmen. Throw some snowballs. Don't forget to pound some Labatt's. Jump through them. Don't forget to pound some Labatt's. Jump through some tables responsibly, and of course, as always, take a few hydration breaks.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages,
let's get ready to rumble.
Not bad. You did well.
There we go.
Let's get ready to rumble. Chelsea's probably like, shut the fuck up.